Guard 4. West center, left. Ready, step. Ready, go. Hard, pull. Right shoulder, pull. Hard, pull. Left shoulder, pull. Hard, pull. Forward, pull. Prepare to fix planets. Ceremonial and peace. Honor, go!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the United States Navy Memorial and Memorial Visitor Center. In 1918, a national holiday was established to commemorate the signing of the armistice between Allied and German forces ending the First World War. In 1954, under President Eisenhower, Armistice Day became Veterans Day, honoring all who have served in the United States Armed Forces. Today, we honor the veterans who have proudly served in our armed forces and thank them for their honor, courage, and commitment to our great nation. Those in attendance are asked to place their hands over their hearts and gentlemen to remove their hats during the presentation and retirement of colors, the playing of our national anthem, the wreath laying, and while muffled ruffles and taps are played. Veterans are reminded that by law they may remain covered and render the military hand salute. Our host for today's ceremony is Rear Admiral Carl Lottie, United States Navy 91st Commandant of Naval District, Washington. Accompanying Rear Admiral Lottie are Senior Chief Yeoman Robert Washington Sr., U.S. Navy retired, and Rear Admiral Frank Thorpe, U.S. Navy retired, President and Chief Executive Officer, United States Navy Memorial Foundation. Guests, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of colors, our national anthem, and the invocation. Advance the colors. Host the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Ronald Norton, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy, will now offer the invocation.
Would you bow with me in prayer? Eternal God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here this day, for the beautiful weather that you have blessed us with, for the country that you have allowed us to be a part of, and for the opportunity to commemorate those who have served in the armed services. We thank you for the call that each person has received and the dedication to giving their very best to preserve and to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We thank you for the years of service that is represented in this gathering today. And as we set aside this day as a nation, help us to remember the many sacrifices that our veterans have made, for the example that they have set, the leadership that they have exhibited. We give you thanks. We ask that through the course of this ceremony today that you would bless all that participate, that you would help us to realize our responsibility to give our very best to serve you, to serve our country, and to serve our fellow man. God bless our President, our United States of America, in this ceremony to your honor and your glory. Amen.
Yes, please be seated.
Ceremonial and peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Rear Admiral Frank Thorpe, U.S. Navy retired President and Chief Executive Officer, U.S. Navy Memorial Foundation.
Good afternoon and welcome to the United States Navy Memorial on this special day where our nation takes a pause and honors and recognizes and celebrates all of the veterans who served and have served our nation in support of freedom. Chaplain Norton, thank you very much for that invocation that set exactly the right tone for today. Thank you very much. Admiral Lati, it's always great to have the Commander of Naval District Washington here join us. We appreciate your leadership here in the region, and thank you again for being a part of this celebration. We have two special guests with us today. Mr. Washington, the National President of the Fleet Reserve Association. Some would call him Mr. President. I call him Senior Chief because I think that was the harder-earned title. He served 26 years in the United States Navy, and perhaps just as significantly, he served 33 years in the Fleet Reserve Association, working his way up from staff all the way up to the highest leadership position, and a man that we all look at as a leader and a proponent for the men and women who serve in the sea services. Thank you for joining us, Senior Chief. We're joined also today by a couple very special people. Senator Cantwell is out here, senator from Washington State. As you all know, Washington is a very, very important state for our military, the home of 10 military bases and the home of our Northwest Navy. And with the pivot to the Pacific, we all know how important those bases are. And Senator, we thank you for your support, and thank you for what you do for the men and women of the sea services. And today, thank you for what you do for the men and women who serve in all the branches. We're joined by Representative Philemon Vela from the 34th District in Texas. And let's talk specifically about the Navy here. Representative Vela represents the district of our own Kingsville Naval Air Station, where all of our future naval aviators cross through there on their way out to the carrier. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us today. And we're joined by Representative Neil Dunn from Florida, 2nd District. Now, Representative Dunn is here, and we think that's pretty special that he's come down the street to join us. And a man who knows what it is to serve in the military, because he grew up in the military with a father who served in the Army, who lived in 20 different places during his life. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. Today, we're all in this together. December 14th, we might not necessarily be in this together. I mentioned earlier there are two special people, and I saved Lieutenant Vickers for last. Lieutenant Henry Eugene Vickers is a World War II sailor, a seagoing sailor, which, when I thought about what I was going to say, I did not necessarily know, sir, you were going to wear that uniform, so I guess I really did not need to say that. I envy that hat. Lieutenant Vickers was married 2 months before the attack on Pearl Harbor. Matter of fact, he was married for 66 years before his wife passed away, sadly, at the age, in 2010. He was commissioned December 1st, 1942. And we've all heard those stories about the reaction of the greatest generation following the attack on Pearl Harbor, when the only option, the only internal option, deep-seated, for those people back in the early 40s, was to raise your right hand and go to war. And that's exactly what Lieutenant Vickers did. Sir, we're honored that you are here today. I'd like to give you one other little statistic on Lieutenant Vickers. Lieutenant Vickers was born on November 11th, 1915. November 11th, 1915. So I would like to break with a little tradition, and I've gotten Admiral Lottie's permission to do so, and I would like to ask Senior Chief Williams to lead us in a loud American rendition of Happy Birthday on this Veterans Day. Lieutenant Vickers, this is for you, sir.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vickers. Happy birthday to you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. It's a wonderful day today. And as we experience the day and we think about what it's about, I would ask you to recall and think about focus on the oath of office that the men and women take who serve our country. They take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. In other words, they're saying, I'm going to put my life on the line for our way of life. And for that, we have no better debt than we have for those people who have done that. So thank you again for joining us, and enjoy the afternoon.
It is now my special honor to introduce Lieutenant Henry Eugene Vickers, a 104-year-old veteran of the World War II in the Pacific. Lieutenant Vickers joined the United States Navy and received a commission upon graduation from the training facility at Harvard. Upon completing his officer training, Lieutenant Vickers was ordered to USS Ganymede, a Carter-class cargo ship. He speaks of the hardships of leaving home, but proudly shares, "You never liked leaving your wife and daughter, but you just did it. There was no question in those days. This is what you were called to do, you did it." While on the USS Ganymede, he sailed to the South Pacific and visited Australia to deliver troops and supplies. He was then assigned to the USS Panamint, a Mount McKinley-class amphibious force command ship, which was under construction. Upon joining the crew of the USS Panamint, he served as signal officer on the bridge. Vickers participated in Iwo Jima, and Okinawa invasions. While recalling his experiences during the Okinawa invasion, he shares, "Kamikazes were coming all the time. They were aiming for us. I'll never forget this one that was right across us. We shot him down on the other side of the ship." Of all of his harrowing memories, he is most proud of his family and his homecoming after the conclusion of the war. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Vickers.
Kamikaze came at us and did something that kamikazes never do. They pulled out of their dive, went across our ship, and we shot them down on the other side. In those days, the kamikazes were a very potent enemy, and I'm thankful that we were able to survive and take care of them. Thank you. At one point, we had the enemy shoot 2 torpedoes at us. And our ship captain, we were at anchor. He turned the ship while it was at anchor, and both of the torpedoes went, one on one side and one on the other, and missed us. We're so thankful for that. We had in the Navy at the time a very potent thing. When planes were coming at us, or we had word that they were coming, why we made smoke, had great big drums on our landing craft. We light those drums and make smoke and cover the whole fleet with smoke so that the enemy couldn't find us. It was a very exciting time, and I'm very thankful that we had people who knew what they were doing. I was so thankful that I could serve in the Navy and come out alive. We're thankful for all of the people that prayed for us and helped us in this wonderful land of ours. Thank you.
On behalf of everyone who's here, sir, I salute you. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
My pleasure.
It is now my honor to introduce Senior Chief Yeoman Robert Washington Sr., U.S. Navy, retired. He is the most recent past national president of the Fleet Reserve Association, having served in that role during the FRA's 2018-2019 year. Senior Chief Washington enlisted in the United States Navy in 1971. During his career, he served aboard USS Strong, USS Simon Lane, HS-17 on board USS Coral Sea, USS Mount Whitney, and was embarked in Comcargru 4. His short assignments included Mine Run 12, Naval Training Center Orlando, Personnel Support Detachment Crystal City, Bureau of Naval Personnel, and the Defense Information System Agency, where he served as the Navy's Senior Enlisted Advisor. He is a graduate of the Navy's Senior Enlisted Academy. Senior Chief Washington joined the Fleet Reserve Association in 1988 and has been a continuous member ever since. During his membership in FRA, he has served in many important roles, including Director of Outreach Coordination and Legislative Program Healthcare Advisor. As Director of Outreach Coordination, he was responsible for enhancing communication and awareness of the FRA to increase membership and to establish contacts and build ongoing working relationships with Fleet Force, CNO Directed Command, and/or other active and reserve Master Chiefs and Sergeant Major. As the Legislative Program Healthcare Advisor for the FRA, he worked with the Military Coalition and Congress on healthcare issues involving active duty members, reservists, and military retirees and their family members. In other Fleet Reserve Association responsibilities, he is a past regional president for the East Coast region, past president of Navy Department Branch 181, past chairman, Central Liaison Committee for the Northern Capital Region, and past chairman of the Bylaws and Rules Committee, East Coast Region. He was born in Charleston, South Carolina, and was raised and educated in that city. He and his wife, Deborah, currently reside in Oxon Hill, Maryland. They have 2 sons and 1 daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Senior Chief Washington.
Thank you, Senior Chief, for the kind introduction. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First, let me take these glasses off because I have transitional glasses so they get dark when I'm in the sun. So I'm going to take them off so I can see. Admiral Leahy, Thorpe, distinguished guests, family members, and yes, my fellow veterans. As the Admiral stated, I did serve in the Navy for 26 years. And I also, as he stated, was national president last year, and my successor is the first women national president association in 95 years. So, a great accomplishment for the association. A lot of my friends always ask the question, if I had the opportunity to serve again, would I do it? My response was absolutely, not all. But today isn't all about me. Today we pause to remember our veterans on this 100th anniversary. Most, if not all of us, have experienced some form of national conflict that dates back to 1776. Since then, over 48 million veterans have served our great nation. 48 million. In our nation's history, from 1935 to 1940, the Great Depression years was the only time that we had in the nation that we did not actually get involved in a war or conflict. The personal, social, and economical demands during this time of unrest are staggering. Today, we are tested to another contested set of values and views that is to safeguard our veterans' mental, physical, and rehabilitative care. We should never accept substitution from their act of bravery and service to good health. So, who are we? The men and women that we call veterans. We are the citizens of this great nation, possessing a deep and comprehensive insight of self-proposed, self-purpose for the very reason why we serve. Our ethos are anchored in commitment rather than just contribution. In these values, we should never surrender to our founding doctrine. American veterans come from many walks of life: north, south, east, the west, and even distant islands away. We do this to protect and defend without hesitation to a set of values that we have coined: honesty and loyalty. Veterans of the future are also our nation's future. By congressional definition, veterans are persons who serve in the military, naval, and air services who were discharged or released under conditions other than dishonorable. Oh yes, our countrymen have turned their backs on us in deliberate fashion in their expression of our Constitution. The very Constitution we took an oath to ourselves. Our soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, Coast Guard have set aside those embellished beliefs and differences to stand up for our flag. Perhaps, as a nation, we should return back to our classroom and revisit those core values, models, and review the very liberties we have come to know future veterans. Demographically, today's veterans are better educated and have demonstrated proven leadership traits to meet personal threat both internally and abroad. They are technologically well-served, well-versed as well, possessing the qualities to make futuristic decisions for our country. Another major milestone within the last decade is that we have more women serving alongside their male counterparts. Yes, we are a well-diverse nation of defenders. Today, there are over 21 million living veterans. They come from many walks of life and religious domain, which characterize our country's fighting force. Valor before self and for country is the battle cry. Putting vanity aside and country first is the very heartbeat and capstone of each veteran's today. In a full measure of devotion bestowed that very character which outweighs differences. So today, I would like to say sincerely, thank you for your service and welcome home. Serving is an act of heroism, which acknowledges our Constitution. No other country in the free world enjoy these written values and personal attributes to protect and defend more than the United States veterans. We are the citizen defenders to the end. Veterans, regardless of the cloth of the uniform, have engaged in common united force. Please accept my salute to each and every one of you today. As one retired Navy Master Chief said, to serve is a virtue, to be served is a blessing. Veterans serve each other and their families. We must never forget our families who too bear their pride so that we may serve. We say yes to the call and collectively are proud to be called American. This is what veterans do. In closing, please reflect on these lyrics for today's veteran. It is called You'll Never Walk Alone. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid to die. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. Yes, you'll never walk alone. Happy Veterans Day, 24/7, 365 days a year, and thank you so much for being out here today.
Will now place a wreath by the Lone Sailor statue to honor veterans of the Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Army, and Air Force for their service, and in remembrance of those veterans whose service demanded the ultimate sacrifice. Guests, please rise. Advance the colors. Retire the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. Thank you for joining us today. Please remain in place until the honors cordon is marched off, after which you are invited to visit the Navy Memorial Heritage Center located to my left. Thank you.
Ready?